Each of us could probably list at least a dozen periods of our lives or incidents in our lives in which we were shaken and we needed courage to go through it. Jesus knew that would happen. There'll always be trouble in the world, but he encourages us to take courage. And that's not a charm. That's not like a wishy-washy, let's hope that we have the courage to do this. In the last few years, in grammar schools especially, kids line up for various sports. And there's been some criticism. Everybody gets a medal. Everybody gets an award for showing up. So the kid who really won the race or won the game gets one, but has no value because everybody has one. He or she had to have the courage to enjoy his accomplishment separate from, quote, the world and the world's politically correct accomplishments about everybody getting an award. We're not all equal. We're all the same in God's eyes. We're all equal people, but we don't have equal talent. I don't know sports. I was with little Aiden yesterday. I've known Aiden for a good 10 years. He's 13 maybe. I knew him from Holy Cross Church in St. Petersburg when I used to help out there. I was at his first communion. And then through the COVID, through the transfer here, we lost contact. We kept each other informed through the mail and email and all that, but we didn't see each other. And he's an example of a kid who takes courage. He tells me he wakes up in the morning, this is not something I would ever emulate, he wakes up in the morning at 4 o'clock, he jogs around his pool, he does some physical exercise with his father, then goes back to bed for another hour before he gets up and prepares for school. When he's in a race, or he's a baseball player, when he's in a baseball game, he takes courage. He bases it on his strength. But he's also a very faithful kid. I mean, he goes to cathedral school, and he's very into the faith. And there's no quabbling about it. He's a kid. He was teaching me TikTok, another thing online. And when he described his most recent game, he said, Father Louis, I know you're not into sports. He remembered that from 6 years ago. I know you're not into sports, but let me tell you about the latest game he was at. And he did. And he goes into his games with courage because he has built up his own stamina and his own abilities and his own exercise regimen. Take that out of the example and put it here. That's how we are with Jesus. We have the opportunity to take courage in Jesus, but it's not a wishy-washy thing. Aiden doesn't get strength and the ability to play ball by just waking up in the morning and playing ball. He exercises. He has a regimen. He goes through certain motions, and then he throws himself into the game. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he doesn't. Jesus is telling us about that. The world is the world. The world's going to be a conflict for you. You'll have people in your family who die, who are ill, who are going through unemployment, depression, anxiety of some sort. That's the world, okay? But don't get caught up into and stay there with loss and sickness and depression. No, take courage in me. I've conquered the world. What does that mean? He conquered death. He conquered the one thing that the devil has hold of, pulls all of us toward depression and anxiety in death. And that's pretty black and white. So Jesus, what does he do? He conquers death. He conquers the thing that the devil has most hold of us on. Now, it's the natural way of life that we're going to die, but all those steps before death are so affiliated with fear and anxiety. So Jesus knew that, Why did he go to Martha and Mary? Why did he raise the widow's son? He knew they were suffering, but he wants to let all of us know, I know what the world is like, but you've got me. Take courage. And the apostles say, oh, now that you're speaking clearly, we understand that you're the Son of God, and you're coming from God, and you're giving a message from God. He says, hey, don't get so excited about that. You know that's your head. You know that because the time is going to come when you're going to be tested, and you're going to run away, and you're going to leave me alone. But know, I am always with you. Even when we fall, we fail, we lack courage, we doubt, we are apathetic. Jesus is with us, and all we have to do is turn back toward him. And remember he's with us, giving us the courage to make the next step, whatever the next step on our journey is. He gives us the courage. Why? Because the resurrection is life, and he's resurrected, and he's with us. And in the Eucharist, we receive him. We take his body and blood into our souls, into our bodies, so we can leave here with a little more courage, a little more preparation, a little more stamina. Jesus was such a wise person. Forget he was God for a second. He was just a wise person. He knew how to put things together. He knew our weaknesses because he was one of us. He had no weaknesses, he had no sin, but he saw his own apostles, he saw his mother suffer. So he knew the human psyche. And Jesus is referred to in John as he needed no information because he understood the human personality. Yeah, he does. He did. And he still does. So when we're going through our dark night of the soul, when we're going through our challenges, when our kids are sick, or we're praying for those who are ill or deceased, stay with Jesus. He's with us. That takes preparation. That takes prayer. That takes focus. And then when it's all put together, even though, Father Louis, you don't like baseball, but you like me, who's telling you about the baseball game, take courage. Jesus is the same way. You may not like all this stuff going around, but I'm with you. Stay with me, and I'll be with you, always.